After a 5-year hiatus from the music industry, during which he focused on raising his son, Sean, with Yoko Ono, Lennon returned to the studio in 1980. He was 40 years old, newly energized, and deeply reflective. He and Yoko had just finished recording Double Fantasy, a collection of love songs, diary entries, and emotional exchanges between the couple. The album was more than music, it was a declaration of rebirth. He walked the streets of New York unbothered, enjoying his anonymity, carrying shopping bags, smiling, living simply. Friends described him as happier and more centered than he'd been in years. He cooked, baked bread, and talked about taking Sean on tour with him someday. The old demons, drugs, fame, frustration seemed behind him. On the morning of December 8th, Lennon gave what would be his final interview to RKO Radio, opening up about his love for Yoko, his devotion to fatherhood, and his hope for the future. Later, he and Yoko headed to the Record Plant studio to continue working on new music. Earlier that day, Mark David Chapman, a 25-year-old former fan from Hawaii, had waited outside the Dakota, Lennon's home in Manhattan. Chapman asked Lennon to sign a copy of Double Fantasy. Lennon obliged, even asking, "Is that all you want?" before walking off with a smile. A photo was taken of that moment, Lennon, generous as ever, signing an album for the man who would kill him. That night, around 10:50 p.m., Lennon and Yoko returned home. As they walked through the archway of the Dakota, Chapman stepped forward and fired 5 shots from a .38 caliber revolver. 4 of them hit John in the back and shoulder. He staggered into the building, bleeding, and collapsed. He was rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, but the damage was irreversible. At 11:15 p.m., John Lennon was pronounced dead. New York fell into mourning. Radio stations played Imagine on repeat. Fans gathered in Central Park, many weeping openly. Yoko, stricken with grief, asked for 10 minutes of silence around the world instead of a funeral. There was no final concert, no farewell tour, just a man stepping into a new chapter of life, only to be robbed of it in an instant. Lennon's final days weren't marked by decline but by renewal. He had come through the storm, Beatlemania, disillusionment, exile, and emerged with a renewed vision. He was more than a musician. He was a man full of ideas, love, and hope. The fact that he died just as he was reclaiming his voice only deepened the tragedy. He sang just days before, starting over. The cruel irony is he never got the chance.